It's too loud. All right. This is the official Chivalry Medieval Warfare weapon tier list. If you disagree with me, you can post a comment in the link below or in the comments below, but you're wrong. So I'll try to do this in some kind of order. Like, let's start with knight weapons. Dub axe be the first one. Dub axe. He's beefy. He does a lot of damage. It's the first weapon pretty much everybody in the game plays with. The range is horrible. You can do some mix-ups with the reverses. The reverses are fast. They do damage. It's fun to play. But the range is horrible. I think it's going D tier. Alright, next up, poleaxe. Poleaxe is a joke. It has a long range on the stab. You'll never use the horizontals for anything. The only meta for the poleaxe is riposte stabs are like unblockable, some people think, and they kind of are. And with the alt overhead, you could do a drag with it. So it's not bad, but it is going in C tier. It's just overall pretty fucking garbage. All right. Next up is the bearded axe. This thing is a meme weapon. You would never ever use it ever for anything. It only has one redeeming quality in that if like somebody kicks you to reset to a neutral position, or you're just standing around and nobody's attacking, you can always swing the LMB and it'll trade 100% of the time. It doesn't matter what the opponent is using. That's the only meta for it, is the LMB trades every time. So versus like fast classes, you can swing and it'll just cleave them and kill them, but it is really bad. All right, what do we got next? Knight swords, I guess, would be the next category. Where's the longsword? This is the longsword? Does it tell us? No, that's a Norse. Where's the longsword? Well, here's this. Oh, I see it. Here's the longsword. All right. Longsword is one of the best weapons in the game. Very balanced. Swords in this game are the funnest category of weapon to play. It has good foot drags. It's balanced. Yeah, overall, just really solid. That's going B tier. For sure. Next up, we have the Sword of War, if I could find it. Here it is. Sword of War. Really balanced. The drags are... It's so balanced that it doesn't have any drags, really. The foot drags are garbage compared to the longsword. People claim they can't block the riposte stab, which is true. I'm not gonna lie. Just overall really solid, good stamina draining weapon. It's my favorite weapon in the game, personally, because it's so balanced. It's really nothing wrong with it. It's going A tier, I think. I can be convinced that it's B tier, but I'm going A for that. Next up is the Messer, if we could find it. Where's the Messer? I mean, this is the one-handed Messer. Oh, here it is. Messer. This is going to be a hot take. Messer is complete horseshit. Every single competitive Shiv player who's ever played Chivalry, they play this weapon, and that's all they play. and all they learn to do is cheese with it. The animations don't match up with the actual swing arcs. You can't fucking read it. They do reverses that are impossible to fucking read. They do first frame, last frame, like 360 fucking drags with the reverse overheads. The LMBs on ripostes are unblockable. You can't read them. It's complete horseshit. But when I play it, I'm always out of range. The range sucks. It's a fucking garbage weapon. This is going D tier. It's only cheesy fucking comp players use it, and it's fucking garbage. All right, next up we'll do the one-handed versions of the swords. So this is one-handed longsword. Is it? Yeah, it is. One-handed longsword. This is actually a really fun weapon to play, although people used to cheese with it a lot. One-handed longsword plus a shield, like a tower shield. That shit's gay, dumb as fuck. But it is the way to play the weapon. It has amazing drags. It's actually really like versatile. It's a really good weapon. I'm trying to think. It's about as good as the two-handed version, so I'm just going to put it in B tier with that. I think that's fair. Next up is the one-handed Sword of War. I guarantee you've never ever seen a single player, I don't care how long you've been playing the game, nobody's ever used this weapon. It's fucking dog shit. I used to use it because it's fast on the stabs versus like men-at-arms when they're dodging around and being little fucking rats. But if you know how to use it, the two-handed version of the Sword of War is just as good, if not better. So this is pretty E tier, let's say. It's usable, but you'll never ever see anybody using this. All right, next up, one-handed messer. You guys never ever see anybody use this weapon either, but it's really good. It's fun. It is the knight equivalent of a Norse sword, essentially, but it has drags, and it does massive fucking damage. It's very underrated in the game. It's one of the funnest weapons to play. You can do foot drags with it. You can basically play it like a Norse, and it does everything the Norse does, and does more damage. So it's actually really good. It's fun, and I'm gonna put this in B tier. It's better than the poleaxe for sure. By the way, I'm rating this based off how effective, how strong, how good, just overall my opinions on the usefulness, the utility of the weapons in the game, etc. What is this? This is the Sword of War. What did I put up here? No, what is this weapon? If this is Sword of War and this... What is this? Claymore? Oh, okay. Claymore, there's a reason they call it the Gaymore. It's fucking cheese. It's horseshit. Anybody who uses this seriously is a fucking douchebag, and nobody uses it seriously anyway. It's like a meme weapon. It's actually not too bad. It's fun to use. The reason people are dumbasses is they feint the spam. They spam feint the stab with it, and then you can't do anything, so you immediately get hit. But it is fun. It's fast. People say, "Oh, it's too. You can't block the riposte stab. You can't block the stab in general. You can block it if you're not shit." And the funnest thing to do with it, what I like to do is, you do the horizontal and then you miss on purpose. And people will just do a normal block because there's no way you're gonna miss a block on the horizontal. But you miss with it, and then they don't have you combo into a stab, and they don't have time to react to do a second parry. So it's actually quite fun. I think this can go B tier as well. I think. What's the last thing on the knights? This is a heavy flail. Where's the light flail? Where is it? Here it is. Heavy flail, light flail. What's the difference? There is no difference. They're both dog shit. We don't even need to talk about them. They're meme weapons. Worst weapons in the game. If you use them, you're trolling. Moving on. I guess Vanguard weapons next. So we'll start with the Greatsword. Here he is. Greatsword. He's a big boy. He does big damage. The only reason you use the Greatsword is because the riposte overhead is literally unblockable. You cannot block it. It's not possible. Otherwise, it's a pretty standard sword. It's got good drags. Not as good as the other swords. You can go C tier. I think that's fair. Alright. Next up, what is the other... I mean, Zweihander's the last one, but what's the other... Oh, it is the Claymore. We did the Claymore first, yeah. Zweihander. It's the best sword in the game. In Chivalry, Medieval Warfare, high damage, high range, very slow attack speed are the most important characteristics of a weapon you want, and Zweihander has all of them. It's amazing. It wrecks everything. It one-shots archers, it one-shots men-at-arms, it two-shots knights. It's got massive fucking range. It can cleave through hundreds of enemies at one time. It's just a badass fucking weapon, really. There's nothing wrong with it. You can do switch-ups with it, mix-ups. It's, very, very solid. Overpowered, for sure. Alright, I think moving on. We have the spears? No, we have the spears. So let me pull all these out at the same time. Where is the actual spear? Here it is. Alright. Spears! One of the weirdest weapons in the game because they have an idiosyncratic characteristic which does not allow you to combo or cancel with them. You can cancel attacks, but you cannot combo feint to parry with them. You cannot hit cancel with them. If you don't know what hit canceling is, it's a multi-combat mechanic where once you hit somebody, you can press Q to feint and then block immediately as if you combo feinted to parry, even if you didn't do a combo. Because these can't combo, you can't do that with it either. So these are unique in the game in that they don't have any of those combos and they don't have those defensive capabilities. So the first one you unlock is a spear. It's actually a really good weapon. It's very solid, huge range, decent damage. The LMB on it, the horizontal, is super fast. So you can easily use mix-ups with the horizontal and the Z-stab, the overhead, to definitely fuck people up. The stab is useless. Don't ever use it. But this is going A tier. It's really fun to use. It's my favorite of the spear weapons to use. And just really solid, yeah. Next up, Fork is a meme weapon. It's absolute horseshit. It does no damage. It's faster than the spear, but why? This can go E tier. It's really fucking bad, actually. It's just a meme weapon. People troll with it. It's nothing else. Brandy stock, however, this guy's a big boy. This guy does damage. This guy has massive, massive, massive fucking range. You can stab through 1,000 dudes at one time, murder all of them. It one-shots archers in the head. It one-shots men-at-arms if you do a headshot. It's massive. It two-shots knights. The Z-stabs are... it is a high skill level weapon to use. You have to be in the right position and aim it right to do Z stabs with the overhead, but otherwise it is a fucking monster, and I think it's going S tier. It's absolutely beautiful. If you're good with the brandy stock, I mean, that's hard to counter. Alright, next up we have the polearms. I think the polearms might come first, but who cares? What's the other one? Billhook? Where's the billhook? Where is it? There it is. Alright, Bardiche, the first polearm you unlock. This thing is so fun to use. It's one of the best Vanguard weapons, in my opinion. Alt horizontal reverse brandy. That's ridiculous. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, the brandy stock, it still has the fast horizontals like the spear does, so you can do mix-ups. It's so fucking disgusting. Anyway, Bardiche. Yeah, thanks for that, Arthian. The Bardiche, amazing. It's fun. It's got insane mix-ups. The drags, the delays are insane. It one-shots archers and men-at-arms, which is important when you're doing like free-for-all and shit like that. It's got massive range. Yeah, it's just really, really fucking fun if you know how to use it. This is going A tier, I think. I think that's fair. Billhook. Billhook is like a faster version of the Bardiche with less range, less damage. Some people claim they can't block the horizontal riposte. If you can't, you're bad at the game. This is pretty D tier. It's garbage, really. Halberd. Halberd immediately going into S tier, you know it. It's the best weapon in the game. Like, hands down. Like, can I put this over here? This is the best weapon in the game. It's got the longest range, and it's one of the slowest weapons of every single weapon. You can choose to attack from any angle and basically do anything you want with it. It's in the right hands, it's amazing. I'm not that good with it, but it does massive fucking damage. It two-shots literally every single class in the game if it doesn't one-shot them. It's a huge beast. Even shittier in the comp version of the game. We don't talk about competitive players because they're douchebags and losers and morons. But in comp mod, they buffed this thing even further to where you can spin around, miss 1,000 times, and you drain absolutely no stamina. And the range is so long you can't get anywhere fucking close to anybody who is using this thing. And it's busted. It's busted in the comp version, but we don't talk about those gays. It is busted in the vanilla version of the game. It is way fucking overpowered and deserves a nerf, although that'll never happen. But yeah, best weapon in the game, Halberd, for sure. Next up, there's a weird Vanguard weapon. Let me find it. The pole hammer. So this is the last Vanguard weapon. You'll never see anybody use this, and if you do, they don't know how to use it. It's actually fun. It's purely an anti-knight weapon. It two-shots knights, it does massive damage, but against a Vanguard or a men-at-arms, the stab looks like it should reach like the other polearms does, but it's short. So you'll never hit fast classes with it, and it overall is pretty shitty, but it is fun. So C tier. That's being generous, but I guess C tier for the polehammer. No, it's going in D tier. No, it's pretty bad. It's fun, but it's bad. Alright, next up. Men-at-arms weapons, I guess? I'm not gonna know what these are because who plays Right at Arms? So this is the Norse, I think. Norse Sword. Now somebody told me Norse Sword was S tier. That person is a retard. Norse Sword. It's got one combo. If you're using it, you stab to the right and try to hit around a person's left side. And then you follow that up with a overhead to your top left so that the person blocking, they have to turn 90 degrees and block this way for the stab, and then they have to turn 45 degrees and up to block the overhead. And that's it. That's the only combo. It's pretty horseshit otherwise. So, like, it's annoying to block against because you gotta, like, move your screen 1,000 fucking degrees to block with it. But overall, it's pretty bad. It does no damage. It's horseshit. People use it just to troll. It's garbage. This is going in E tier. Yeah, I think that's fair. Alright, next up. Broadsword. Does slightly more damage, has slightly more range than the Norse Sword. Is also slightly slower. Slower weapons are always better because you have more drag potential. And because it does more damage than the Norse, the broadsword does have one thing that the Norse doesn't, and that is if you hit somebody, you immediately do a 180 and you can combo into a horizontal, and it's unblockable. So just because of that, it's D tier. It's slightly above Norse, but it's still horseshit. Right at Arms weapon. Who cares? Falchion. Why would you ever use this? It does more damage. If you want a challenge, you could use it, but it's pretty fucking bad. F tier. Next up. What do we have? Maces. Where's the last mace? Where is it? Anyway, this is the regular mace. It's dog shit. Immediate E tier. Why would you ever use it? Morning Star. It's a meme weapon. It's broken. It's cheese. It's horseshit. The Morning Star has one purpose. That is, it's unblockable. It's unblockable if you have a shield because it goes so fast that it doesn't matter how early you block, it hits you anyway on the stab. And if you riposte stab with it, the stab starts inside of the opponent's fucking character model, like behind their shield. Even if they have a shield up, it goes through it 100% of the time. It's fucking horseshit. It's a troll weapon. The overhead smacks, does a lot of damage. This is going D tier. Nobody would ever use this unless you're a fucking idiot. I think that's fair. Holy Water Sprinkler. This is a fun weapon to use. It is kind of a troll weapon. The stab is really fast. The overhead can two-shot vanguards, which is fun because it's so fast that you go boom boom, they're dead. But it does fall into the troll category of maces being quick and unblockable. We'll put that C tier, I think. I think that's fair. What do we have next? Axes. Where are they? Alright. First axe you unlock is the hatchet. This is actually a super fun weapon to use. Nobody uses it, but I think it's hilarious. The waterfall on it, like the overhead to their opposite blocking side, or their opposite like weapon hand side, it hits 90% of the time if people don't know how to block against this weapon. Super funny, super cheesy. If they know how to block, that doesn't work, but against pretty much everybody, they don't know how to block that. It works every time. Otherwise, it's a pretty standard axe. This can go D tier, I think. Yeah, because aside from that, it's not really good. War Axe is horseshit. Why would you ever use this? There's literally no reason to ever use this. It's bad. Dane Axe is amazing. Dane Axe redeems one-handed axes in this game for sure. It's got deceptively huge range. You can do foot drags with the overheads. The stab is fast and unblockable, even though it does shit damage. So you can do mix-ups with it. It's a men-at-arms weapon, so you can dodge around and like set up and aim up your attacks. It's actually really good. This is going A tier for me, I think. I think it's really that good. I think Quarterstaff is the last men-at-arms weapon. Horseshit. This is a meme weapon. It's a troll weapon. I wish it wasn't, but it's so fast that you cannot block it. It is cool that you can, if you use alt attacks, you can pretty much attack from any direction you want, which is what you would want out of a weapon like this. It's just a shame it's so like janky and fast and garbage, and only trolls use it, really. People will feint you and then wreck your ass. Yeah, it's a real shame. I think it's going D tier as well. Alright, moving on. Next up we have the Archer weapons. Is that really where we're at now? Archer, why would you play Archer in a game that's a melee sword fighting combat game? Doesn't make any sense. People who play Archer have brain damage. There's no way getting around it. I don't even know how to feel about this. I can't rate any of these. All right. What do we have? Let's do the bows first, I guess. So the first bow you get is the longbow. It's a bow. Archery in this game is horseshit. The arrows drop off the further the distance is. It's impossible to aim with it. Doesn't do amazing damage anyway. This is pretty E tier for me. Short bow has a faster reload, so only for that reason it gets one bump ahead. And the warbow, it does more damage, but why would you ever use this thing? You never ever see anybody use warbow. That's horseshit. As far as these, nobody even knows what these are. I'll tell you what they are. Bodkin arrows. They do more damage against heavy classes, I think. Broad arrows, they do more damage against light classes. Supposedly, nobody knows the difference because in the game, in the actual Chivalry Medieval Warfare game, even in the tutorial, anywhere in the game, it doesn't tell you or describe anywhere in the entire fucking game what the difference is between these two arrows. It doesn't tell you what. You can look up the wiki. You could use both. You'll have no idea what the difference is. 100% of the time, there's no difference. Fucking garbage. Why? Next up, we have crossbows, I think. Here's a crossbows. What? So this is crossbow, the regular crossbow. The first one you unlock. The problem with crossbows is they take a long time to reload, and you're completely vulnerable while you're reloading crossbows. So they're pretty bad in most situations. They're only useful for like team objective modes where you're camping or like safe spotting or. It's the thing is, they're like laser beams. They don't have any drop off. If you aim at somebody's head and shoot it, it hits them in the head every time. So these are actually really good in team modes. And I'm gonna put crossbow in B. B? C. Because the light crossbow is better. It reloads faster. Yeah, it doesn't do as much damage, but faster reload is what you want. It's more DPS, more chances to hit. Heavy crossbow, F tier. Yeah, it does more damage, but it takes like 10 seconds to reload. Why would you ever use it? Fucking garbage. And then this, you have two options when you're using the crossbow. You could have a Pavi shield or extra ammo. Let's talk about the Pavi shield. You can drop it down as like a temporary blockade slash like shitty cover. It's easily broken, maybe good in a pinch. The most important thing about the Pavi shield is when it's holstered, it's on your back, and that counts as protection from projectiles. Like if an arrow hits your back and you have a shield on it, it'll bounce off. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it in C tier, and I mean, if you don't want that, extra ammo is just as fine. These are both C tier. Nothing really impressive about any of them. All right, next up, javelins. So javelins are the first one you get. They're pretty bad. Javelins in general, though, they're fun because they're a hybrid range slash melee option. Your horizontal is the throw. Your stab does a right-sided stab. And your underhand does a left-sided shield punch. And the shield punch is pretty fast. The stab is pretty good. Does a lot of damage. It's very fun. Unfortunately, javelins are one of the worst versions, so that goes in E tier, I think. Short spear is the next version you unlock. These are super fun. Very fast, you can whip them out. If you miss, you can go pick them up and keep throwing them. These I'm gonna leave in, just because I've never seen anybody use them, like, super effectively. Yeah, I guess B tier. Like, they're really not that good. You can't get a lot of kills, but they are fun to use. And heavy javelins, F tier. Why would ever use that shit? You get like 4 of them too, and once you expend them, they take forever to throw. Yeah, they do more damage, but who cares? They drop off like a fucking tank. They have like weights attached to them that go fucking garbage. All right, next up, sling. It's the final archer weapon. This thing is mostly a troll weapon, isn't it? The accuracy is dog shit. If you ping people in the head, it'll do massive damage and you can kill people, but if you're walking around and just like slinging people mid to close range, you're never gonna hit them. Like 80% of the time you'll miss. I'm trying to think about if there's any reason. Oh, if you have a team and you have a bunch of sling archers on the team, because when you get hit by a projectile or a weapon, it stun locks you or like slows down your momentum. A bunch of sling archers in tandem, all on the same team, can just stun lock you even if it doesn't do a whole ton of damage, and it's real fucking annoying, and that's pretty funny. So I think for that reason alone, it's going D tier instead of E. Yeah, I think that's fair. Is there anything else on the archer side? Did I miss anything? No, sling is the last one. So now we have the tertiaries. Oh, the secondaries we didn't do yet. So let's just do them one by one. This is the broad dagger. It's pretty good. It's fast. Does decent damage. You just have to be in more or less face hug range. Um, a pretty solid option for a secondary. Going C tier. Next up, we have the hunting knife. Why would you ever use this? This is a hunting knife, right? Let me just double check. Yeah. Hunting knife. I've never seen anybody use this. F. Thrusting dagger. Again, nobody ever uses this horseshit. Oh, the hunting knife, at least the overhead can chop people's heads off, so that's funny. So that's going in E tier. But the thrusting dagger, F tier, because I've never seen anybody use that. Why would you use that over the broad dagger? Supposedly it's got more range. It doesn't matter. You gotta be face-hugging the fucking dude to hit him anyway. Saber. Pretty shit. Pretty bad. It's got more range than the other daggers, but it does no damage. I'm just trying to think. I mean, it's fun to use. You could stab, stab, stab all day. It'll hit most of the time. People think it's too fast to react to. You can kind of delay with the horizontal and etc. But overall, you have to hit people way too many times to actually kill them. It's pretty garbage. This is going in E tier. Next up. What? How did I miss the Maul? Guys, how did we miss this one? The Maul is S tier. Alright, let's talk about the Maul for a second. How do we miss that? I guess this is in the Axe tier. What tier is this in? We talked about the Warhammer, right? Oh, we missed the hammer weapons. No, we didn't talk about these at all. Alright, so these are knight weapons. The first one you unlock is the Warhammer. It's pretty funny to use. We call it the Home Depot hammer because that's what it is. You can delay with it, although it's very hard. So I would say you could reverse with it too, so you can definitely be tricky with it. It's only an anti-knight weapon. It doesn't work against any other class, really. Vanguards, maybe, but it does massive damage at 2 shots. It's funny to use. It's got shit range. I think B tier. B tier for this. Yeah, I don't know how we missed these. Maul is S tier. It one-shots every single class in the game if you can aim a headshot. I mean, what else do you want from a weapon? It's got massive range. It just dump trucks all over everybody if you know how to use it. Yeah, it's slow. People can try to interrupt you, but good luck. Yeah, nothing. It is a high skill level weapon. That's the only downside. It's not easy to use, but it is really, really good. So Maul S tier. Grand Mace only has one redeeming quality, and that is the reverse overhead is unblockable. Again, this is an anti-knight weapon. It 2-shots knights. It's completely fucking useless against vanguards. And men-at-arms especially. There's just no way you're gonna hit them or get close enough. Pretty bad. But it is fun to cheese with, so I think this can go D tier. Yeah, I think that's fair. Alright. Next up. I know we skipped a couple things. Short sword. My god, this thing is good. It's the best secondary to have. Like, you could use the broad dagger if you want, but the short sword, it's so fast, it stun locks people. They can't react. If you can't block it, you can't get an attack off in time. It'll just interrupt your wind-up. It does really good damage, too, for a dagger. I mean, this is A tier. It's really amazing. This should be your secondary of choice if you have it. I mean, broad dagger, okay, but this is... short sword is way better. Next up is the cudgel. He's funny. It's a meme weapon. It's a rolling pin. It does like 10 damage on the stab. You gotta hit somebody 10 times to kill them. At least. That being said, it is really fast, and you can do a bunch of mix-ups with it. I didn't include fisticuffs in the game. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, well, fisticuffs are not that good, but the cudgel is like fists, but you can block with them. It is essentially how I would describe it. It's super fun to use, but it is garbage, so it's going D tier for sure. All right, next up. I don't know. Let's just pull these out one by one, I guess. The buckler. Knights used to be able to use the buckler. In fact, I think it was by default buckler with the flail. And then you could equip the buckler just as a side, just as a shield. And there's some kind of bug in the game. I don't understand how it works, don't at me. But shields with weapons, like the weapons hit quicker. They're broken. It's a fucking garbage tactic. And buckler was the most egregious and worst example of it, which is why they removed it from knights altogether. So basically you can only use this buckler as a man-at-arms or as an archer with if you have a javelin you have to use it. But it's super fun, pretty good. I don't know. B tier. Next up, fire pots. In theory, fire pots should be really good. They have a couple use cases which make them excellent in team modes. If you throw them against like a battering ram or a catapult or a ballista, people cannot use those siege weapons while there's fire on the ground. Like, you can pour oil on the battering ram and people will take damage, but they can still bash the ram into the gate. The fire pot will interrupt your action and you can't do anything. So that makes it really good. It's a good area of denial weapon. The problem with the fire pot is it's only used by 5-year-olds and trolls. If you see somebody like on Stones Hill or on some map, like going back to the ammo cache and constantly reloading fire pots and throwing them down the stairs, those are little kids. Chivalry Medieval Warfare is an 18+ mature rated, highly competitive PvP fighting game meant for adults and fighting game veterans. So if you see anybody using this, they're fucking dog shit. They're trolls, they're idiots, they're losers, they're kids. You need to call their parents. There's something like, why is nobody watching these kids? So for that reason, it's going D tier. It's fucking dog shit. All right, next up. Kite shield. I mean, this is not a kite shield, a heater shield. It's just your default option for men-at-arms, nothing special, all C tier. Don't really need to talk about it. Kite shield. So these are your two options. Supposedly, there's different stamina drain depending on what kind of shield you're using. That's not explained in the game. And if anybody knows anything about that, you're a nerd. Because long story short, shields in this game are pretty fucking garbage. You would never use them, because if you're unskilled, yeah, you could do held parry. That's why Shiv 2 is up for a bunch of fucking casuals. You hold your parry. It's no skill, no timing, no brain power involved. But yeah, why would you ever use the kite shield? This is F tier. Tower shield, however, if you're doing defensive strats, I mean, this is a big boy. So how shields work is the shield itself is your parry box. So the tower shield being the biggest of them means you can block the most area. If you're trying to do a tank as a knight, trying to like, this is the best weapon to use for holding off several people at one time. Yeah, it does drain a lot of stamina when people hit the shield. People can, in duels especially, if you're holding your shield up and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, people can heavy kick you and it'll stun you. That's why people don't use shields. You can't riposte with shields, which makes them shitty. But this is the best shield in the game for sure. And only because of all the flaws that shields have, and because skilled players don't use shields. This could be, you could make an argument this is S tier, but this is going A tier. I think that's fair. Next up, we'll talk about the sling projectiles. Pebbles F, or I guess, no. Pebbles E. It's infinite ammo, but it does less damage than lead balls, so lead ball goes higher than it. And not much else to say about it. Smoke pots. You only get like 20 lead balls and infinite pebbles or stones. They're called stones, I think. Smoke pots, like fire pots, one of the few strategical things you can do in the game. You can smoke out an area, you can block archers' line of sight. If a corridor or an objective is hard to get to, you can smoke it up and try to infiltrate. It's actually really good. I have to talk about these last two before we come to a conclusion. So, like as a Vanguard, you have an option between these three options. Throwing axes, they're dog shit. E tier, I think, is fair. You only get two of them. They drop down like a fucking anchor. They're hard to aim. Like, I've seen people aim these like you wouldn't believe, but they're cheaters. Nobody can actually do that. In the heat of battle, it's a last resort. If you see people opening up a fight with a throwing axe, they're douchebags, they're idiots, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So this is pretty bad. Throwing knives, on the other hand, these are what you want. You get 4 of them. They don't do much damage. Like, yeah, the throwing axes do more damage. You would need all 4 to kill like a Vanguard, but in a chase or like in a situation where somebody's not trying to close the gap, you can easily ping one of these at them, try to force their hand. These are really good. I think B tier is fair, actually. I'm gonna keep them right there. And smoke pots, I kind of want to put them S tier because of their strategical value, but you're sacrificing, you can't equip smoke pots and have throwing knives. So for that reason, I think smoke pots are more important in a fight generally. Oh, it really depends. This is hard. I'm gonna rate them equally. It depends what kind of fight you're doing. So I think that's the final tier list there. Yeah, we'll call that a day. Download blocked. Great. There we go. Yeah, stored in my taxes folder. How do you get that? Alright, that's my official tier list. And if you disagree, you can post your comment in the video description down below.